All right, so hi everybody. My name is Duncan. Like I said, you've been emailing with me about the pre-departure and the application process of the ECES program. I am here today to give you a quick introduction to what to expect from the program before you get here, ways to properly prepare, and other miscellaneous academic and administrative necessities before you arrive to the program. So like I said, if you have any questions, please reach out in the chat box. I will be keeping an eye on it throughout the webinar. And so let's get started. So I just want to go over a little bit about the Session C program dates. So as you can see here, I'll be going over these dates a little bit more in depth in just a little bit. But your arrival date will be July 8th. The first week of the program is going to be mostly orientation activities as well as your mandatory Czech class. The next 3 weeks after this are going to be courses, and then you will be departing on August 3rd. And like I said, I'll be going over a little bit more about the in-depth schedule in just a second. Before then, be prepared because your course registration is going to be on May 16th, starting at 4 p.m. Central European summertime. And so this is 10 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure that when you're converting to your time zone, whichever time zone you may be in, that you are counting this as Central European Standard Time rather than Central European Time, because at different points of the year, the Czech Republic will be on 2 different time zones. So this is important. One thing to keep in mind for course registration, if you have not already done so, is please register on the ECES website at least 1 week prior to May 16th. Just so that way we can make sure that you are properly logged on the ECES website, so that if you have any issues registering, that we are able to troubleshoot your account for you, because you will need to be registered on the website just so that you can register for our courses. I sent an email about this, included this in your acceptance emails, but like I said, if you haven't already done so, please just do this this week. And if you have any issues, feel free to email me. And it's important to make sure that you're registered ahead of time because courses are given on a first come, first served basis. So if you are late to registering, if you have any issues, and then we have to troubleshoot the day of, then you will need, you might miss the classes that you wish to sign up for. So it's very important that you are on top of registering. That being said, if a course fills up and you don't get the course you want, or the courses that you do want are full, you are able to register still and be put on a wait list. And then we have a 2-day add drop period after courses begin, where students can add extra courses or drop courses that they might not want to take. And so at any point during this add drop period, if the course, someone who is enrolled in the course drops, the next person on the wait list will be moved up into the course registration. That being said, after the add drop period is over, if you are still on the wait list, you will be cut out of the class. So please make sure that if the course that you are on the wait list for is the only thing hinging on you meeting your minimum course requirements from your home university, just make sure that you have another course at least ready, so that way if you are not able to make it into the full course before the registration for the add drop period is over, that you are all set. And for this reason, and I'll talk about this in just a little bit, this is why it's especially important to have multiple courses, more courses than you believe you are going to take here, approved at home by your major advisor. And this will be different from university to university, but the advisor you should be talking to about this should be your major advisor or your academic advisor rather than your study abroad advisor. So just make sure that you're on top of that. And I just want to show everybody what it's like on the ECES website for anyone who is not registered yet. as well as to show you what it looks like from the student perspective. So I've gone ahead and made a student account just to show you what it's like. Okay. So once you are properly registered and logged in, this is what the website will look like. So as you can see here, my profile is a bit empty. I'm not registered for any courses right now, and I don't have any assignments due for those courses. After the registration period, this will fill up for you, and this will kind of be your home page for the duration that you are enrolled in the ECES program. So if you go over here on the left toolbar, you can click on this courses tab, and over here we have our finalized course listing for the Summer Session C program. And so, like I said, if you want to get a course pre-approved at your home university for the registration period, all you'll need to do on our end is find a course that you want to take, like comparative politics. You'll click on it. And then after that, you'll go into the sections. And then from here, you can find the PDF of the syllabi right here. And you'll be able to print this out. This includes the course description, the requirements, the readings, attendance policies, and the breakdown of the grading. And so this is most of the information that you will need for your home advisor. And additionally, keep in mind that all of our full-length courses are worth 3 US credits or 6 ECTS credits. So keep that in mind, as well as the fact that even though our courses only meet for 3 weeks, because they meet every day in 3-hour blocks from Monday through Thursday, you are meeting for approximately the same amount of time as a normal course during the semester. So this will be 52 course meeting hours. And of course, if you have any other questions about information you might need, feel free to reach out and ask me, or take the time and you can check out the syllabi for each of the courses you might be interested in. And additionally, if you look over here on the toolbar, you can click on activities, and over here, you will find all of the activities that we will have set up for you throughout the semester. Right now, we have the orientation day trips signed up on here, but we will be posting as well our optional day trips. Some of them are free day trips, some of them are paid. You will see the price over here after they are finalized. So also over here, you can find our academic policies and procedures. Just give this a look over. It's more of our administrative information, not only course registration, but also a little bit of information about the add drop period, course cancellation, about the attendance policy. So we'll be giving you a few forms about this after you arrive in Prague, but it doesn't hurt to give this a look over so you know what to expect before you get here. So let's go back to the presentation. And so, like I said, we're going to go over a little bit about what to expect from the orientation week. So your official arrival date for the Summer Session C program will be Monday, July 8th. For most of this day, it's just going to be arriving and getting checked into the dorm. So we really do recommend that you arrive specifically on July 8th. This is the day that we reserve spaces for you in the dormitory if you have requested a spot through the housing preference form. And as well, if you arrive at the airport or the train station on this date and you fill out the housing or the arrival information form, we will be able to organize transportation for you from either the airport or the train station, wherever in the city you're arriving, to make sure that you get to the dorm all right. And like I said, for most of the day, we will have staff member at the dorm to check you in and get you all set. And as well in the afternoon, we will have a optional orientation meet and greet, which, like I said, is optional, but we really do recommend you come out to it because it's a really great way to meet the other students who are in the program, as well as the ECES staff, and to have some tasty local Czech food. And so, as you see here, This is a screenshot of what one of our double rooms at the Kole Kamenského dorm looks like. As you can see here, you got a little bit of space, and I'll be showing you the suite areas for these dorms. One thing I do want to let you know is that we will let you know what your housing and room assignment is, as well as if you got a single, if you had requested it, on the day that you arrive at the dorm. We won't be able to tell you before this, but as soon as you arrive to Prague, we'll let you know who your roommate is, as well as which room assignment you will have. So one thing to keep in mind is that after you arrive in Prague, you're probably going to get through customs and just be relieved to get through. And we ask that you don't, at this point, put your passport away into your luggage. You will need your passport to check into the dorm. So please just keep that out. Just so you don't have to go digging for it later through your luggage. And one thing to keep in mind before you get here for packing, because it's very common for our students to overpack, just know that we have wonderful cleaning staff who work Monday through Friday, and they provide you with sheets and towels at the dormitory, so you do not need to worry about packing either of these things. So that way you can save a little bit of packing space. You're only going to be here for 4 weeks, so try not to overpack. And this also applies to other cheaper items that you can buy after you have already arrived in Prague, specifically soap, body wash, or shower gel. These are very cheap to just get at a local supermarket or store. So don't worry about overpacking these if you are especially getting towards a weight limit for your flight. And so over here, like I mentioned, you can see this is what the suite area for all of our dorm areas will be. Whether you're in a single or a double room, you are going to have a common suite area like this. As you can see here, it's got a small kitchenette, complete with a mini fridge, a hot plate, and a small sink. As well as some cupboard space. And then an entryway and space for coats and boots, etc. So like I said, no matter whether you are in a single or a double, you will have this common space. And especially if you want a more private space to do cooking or anything like that, you can use this space. That being said, we do have a full common room area that I would say is pretty cozy and also a great way to kind of meet the rest of the students and be social, especially if you are really into cooking and you think the hot plate might not be enough. In our communal kitchen, we have a full stove and oven, as well as pots and pans and utensils that are there for everybody to use, as well as a few tables, a television, a couch. So it's really a comfy and welcoming place that is only for our ECES students. So please, it's your space. Make use of it while you're here. One thing to keep in mind, though, I mentioned our wonderful cleaning staff. They will not be cleaning up after you in the communal kitchen. So if you make a wonderful, beautiful dinner, just please make sure to clean the dishes up after yourself because nobody else will do it for you. And without fail, we usually have a few people who do not clean their dishes after. And likewise, please, if you're putting anything perishable into the full refrigerator in the communal kitchen, that you make sure to clean it out. That being said, it is still your space, and we really do ask that you make use of it. Make it your own. And additionally, we also have breakfast provided for you. Monday through Friday, except for national holidays. So keep this in mind that it is not, it might not be what you're used to at home. Generally, it is a more light and continental traditional European breakfast rather than anything heavy. There's no pancakes, there's no waffles, there's no scrambled eggs, but we do have deli slices such as cheeses and meats and fruits and vegetables, as well as yogurts, pastries. So like I said, it's very traditionally European. But also, if you have any recommendations for the breakfast while you're here, especially if you have any dietary needs, then you can let our breakfast coordinator know. And we really do want to make sure that you are able to grab something to eat while you're here at the dorm. Other amenities of the dorm include Wi-Fi throughout the entire building. We have a housing coordinator living on site to be able to help you with any issues you might have, whether it is with any mechanical issues with your dorm room, or if you need help with anything else. Additionally, we have 24/7 gated entry to the dorm. So you'll be using your student IDs to check into the dorm. This is for everyone's own safety. Just so we know exactly who's coming in and out. And we also have 24/7 reception staff to be able to help out with this. So especially too, if you have any friends or family who are visiting you at the dorm, they will not be able to stay in the dorm room that you have with you. They will have to be checked in at the front. And if you want them to stay overnight, they will have to pay a small fee, the normal nightly fee at the dorm. So please keep this in mind that if you have anyone visiting you the period that you are staying here, that you are not able to just have anybody crash in your dorm room. Like I said, this is primarily for everyone's safety, tied to knowing who's coming in and out of the dorm. So additionally, I've included the dorm address here. And so let's check out where this is in Prague. As you see here, this is a larger map of Prague. This is most of the area within the center of Prague that you will probably be exploring, especially if you want to go out north to the zoo or to the hiking and outdoorsy areas of Divoka Sharka. This is, like I said, a little bit wider of the area. So we're going to zoom in and I'm going to show you where the dorm is in the center. So right here at Parazhova 6 is the dorm location. It is a short, I'd say about 2-minute walk to the Pohořelice tram stop. This is the closest tram stop, like I said. And from this tram stop, it is about I'd say a 12-minute commute to the Malostranska metro and tram station. And from here, a short walk across this bridge to Náměstí Jana Palacha. So this is the address of our main office building. This is where my office is throughout the semester, as well as where most of our courses are held. Although some of our courses will also be held at our Jindřiška building, which is 1 metro stop away from Náměstí Jana Palacha. So once you're already at our main building here, then you are able to take 1 metro stop away just to get to Jindřiška. This is only a few minutes. So all in all, if you're trying to get to your classes in the morning, it should only take about 15 or 20 minutes on a good day. Although, of course, keep in mind that sometimes there are traffic delays. But this also lets you live a bit outside of the center of Prague. Prague 1, where our main classroom buildings are located, are just a short walk from the Old Town, as you can see right here. If you look up any pictures of Prague, you've probably seen the Old Town Square with the astronomical clock. And these are just a short walk away from our main classroom buildings. If you really do want to get into the center of Prague where it's busy, it's very easy from our class buildings, but you're still able to take a short tram away and be in one of the quieter sections of Prague with a bit of a more traditional Czech experience. That being said, one thing I really do recommend while you're here is you're able to just walk down this way past Hradčany, which is the castle area, to Malostrana. This is probably about a 40-minute walk from the dorm to the bridge. One morning, if you have time, if you don't have class, I really do recommend this walk as it's through a very beautiful old Gothic area of Prague. And there's some beautiful architecture. You're able to see the castle, and it's really just stunning. Let's move on. So like I said, for the orientation itself, the arrival date will be July 8th, and primarily this will be the check-in day as well as the ECES meet and greet in the evening. The next day is going to be a little bit more of the housekeeping, so to speak, and the academic and administrative issues. So in the morning, we're going to have a housing orientation. We'll show you a little bit more of what to expect out of the amenities of the dorm, give you a short tour around, and get you comfortable in your new home for the next month. And after this, we'll be going to get your student IDs. Like I said, these will be used to check into the dorm, as well as if you use these, if you have a class at our Jędryska building, you'll need your student ID to be able to swipe in. And you can use this to prove that you're a student at any other place in Prague as well. And after this, we'll be having a welcome meeting. This is a bit of more of our academic and, like I said, administrative issues about Prague. And this will take about, I'd say, an hour. And after this, you'll be going to your first survival check seminar. We're going to be having two parts of this during the orientation week to get you a little bit acclimated with the language here. Some of the basics like dobrý den, hello, děkuji, hello, or thank you, nashkladano, goodbye. So it's not going to be too intense, but it definitely will help, especially to get you to be able to understand, like I said, the basics and not be as lost, especially when you're trying to get around the city. And so after this, on either Wednesday or Thursday, you will either have the second part of your Czech seminar, or you'll be having a mandatory ECES day trip. On one of these days, you will need to go on the day trip, and on the other day, you will need to go to the seminar. We have two choices of day trips for you to go on, either to the Terezín former concentration camp or to the Kutná Hora Cathedral and town. And so especially if you do have a first choice on which trip you would rather go on, like I said, please make sure that you are registered on the website and be ready to register for trips and activities when that registration period opens up. If you are not registered for one of them by the time that our event registration closes, then you'll be automatically assigned to one of them. So like I said, please make sure if you have a first choice that you are registered for the one that you would prefer. And like our courses, it is first come, first serve. And so after this, you're going to have a free weekend, and we're going to have a few optional orientation activities as well, if you would so choose to accompany them. So here is an example of a few of our optional trips and activities. A few of these will be going on throughout the summer session, so be on the lookout on the website for when these are posted for our final list. And so before we wrap up, I just want to give you a few more preparations to keep in mind before you get here. So first off, and I think I might be a bit biased here, I studied history and politics in my undergrad. And so I would say learn a bit of the history and the politics of the Czech Republic and Central Europe. It definitely will help lessen the culture shock after you get here. And especially this is going to be your home for about a month. So knowing a bit about where you're going to be living will definitely help you acclimate a little bit more. And tied to this, start learning Czech. There are a lot of apps and websites out there that can help you master the basics, and especially before you get here and before the intensive Czech seminar, this is a really great way to at least get the pronunciation down, which I would say is important at least for getting around the city and reading the tram and metro stops. So especially Duolingo just recently added Czech. It is now available on the desktop as well as on their app. And you might have been able to gather, but I am not Czech, so I can attest that although it is a bit hard, it's definitely worth the practice, and especially, like I said, the phonetics and pronunciation. And one thing to keep in mind also before you get here is that the culture is probably going to be a bit different than what you're used to back home, no matter where you are. One thing that people are very much taken aback by is that when they first get here, people might think that Czechs are rude or closed off. This is not the case. Czech people in public are very much more reserved than what a lot of people are used to. But this is just how Czech people act in public. You know, people won't really like smile or wave at you if you don't know them. But this is not them trying to be mean or anything. This is just the way that people act in public. So just keep this in mind, that people aren't trying to be mean to you once you get here. It's just the way that people act in public. Besides this, Also, when you go to the restaurant, you might think that, wow, this server is really rude, or this service is really terrible. There's just not the same expectation around public service, and especially in restaurants that there might be where you're from. These are just people working their jobs, and they might not be having a good day. And there's just not as much of an expectation that you need to hide that here. So likewise, if you're just getting a very straightforward response from a waiter or a waitress, it doesn't mean that they're trying to be mean to you or anything. And one thing to keep in mind about getting around, public transit is huge here. And I don't know if it's big exactly where everyone is from, but compared to taxis or Uber, public transit is definitely the way to get around, like a Prager. And so one thing I'll say about Uber is that it is not legal in Prague. It does not act as a legal entity. So please do not try to take Uber after you have arrived in Prague. And as far as taxis go, they do exist in Prague, although it's not very common to use them to get around. And this is, I think, like a lot of cities, but especially if taxi drivers think that you might not be a local and they think they can maybe one-up you, then they might take a different route to their destination just to try to run the meter up and make you charge more than you normally would have to get to a destination. So we really don't advise trying to take taxis. Like I said, the best way to get around is definitely public transit. And public transit acts on a 24-hour schedule here. So after midnight, they switch over to a night schedule, but night trams do still run. So this is definitely the best way to get around. And so a few practical considerations before we get here. And this first point goes for as well if you are making any payments to ECES, either for activity fees or for your tuition or housing payments. Please call your credit card company and bank and let them know that you will be making the payment. And before you get here, make sure you let them know that you will be traveling in the Czech Republic and Europe. I can attest that there is nothing scarier than being cut off from your money after you arrive in a new country. So please let them know ahead of time. And especially to keep in mind that even though the Czech Republic is in the EU, the Czech Republic does not use the euro, unlike a lot of neighboring countries. So you will need to take out Czech crowns before you arrive here. 20 Czech crowns equals approximately $1 US. And we do recommend that you take Czech crowns out of the bank so you have some on hand before you arrive, just in case there is any issue with your card or there is any issue accessing your money. So this is something to keep in mind. And as well, too, if you are going on any trips to neighboring countries on the weekend, if you want to take a trip to Germany or Austria, which are both extremely close, those countries do use the euro. So you will have to exchange money into the euro. And likewise, if you're traveling to any other countries, let your bank know that you will be there so they don't shut off access to your bank or card. As well, before you get here, make sure that you buy European style adapters. And I do want to stress you should do this before you arrive, since all the appliances that people buy here they work with European outlets. It's a bit hard to get access to these converters after you have already arrived. So if you can't find them at a local electronics store where you are, then we really do recommend going on Amazon or going online to try to find some adapters before you get here. And have a few, just so if you lose one, then you are not totally out of luck. And additionally, make sure that you check the voltage on these appliances before you get them and see if they match up with the device you would be using them for. That being said, please don't bring any heat-producing appliances such as hair dryers or hair straighteners. These generally do not convert well with the voltage to the European converters and don't work with the voltage converters. And we've had a lot of experience with these either catching fire or breaking on students. So we really just recommend that if you are going to use these appliances, that after you arrive in Prague, you can go to Tesco or another store and just get one for very cheap. And especially too, if you have a nice one back at home, we don't want you to ruin that or anything. So keep that in mind, please. And before you arrive as well, you can get an ECES card. So this is an international student identification card. And this can help you get a lot of benefits and discounts after you arrive here in Prague. And I know that a lot of airline companies, and double check airline to airline company, but you can get discounts on your flights with one of these cards. So you should definitely check out, if you are interested, at www.isic.org if you would be interested in being able to save a little bit of money after you get here, as well as on your flight possibly. But please, one thing to note is that you are not able to get this card after you arrive in Prague. Please apply for it ahead of time through your home university. If you go to City U of Hong Kong, you should apply for it as a student of City U of Hong Kong. And then as an international student identification card, it will work even when you are here in the Czech Republic. So like I said, if you might be interested in this, then definitely check out the website and apply sooner rather than later so you can get it on time before you arrive here. And so this is just about the end of the pre-departure webinar. If you have any questions before the webinar is over, I'll give you a few minutes to type anything in the chat box so you can take advantage of being here live. But like I said, as well, while you're thinking about questions, if you have any questions or if you missed something in the webinar, I will be sending this out after the fact in a follow-up email, so you can reference this at your leisure, as well as for anyone who, like I said, wasn't able to attend today. So just keep that in mind that I will be sending this to you. But also, like I said, if you have any final questions before we wrap up, then just let me know. And I will also, in this follow-up email, be sending reminders of other things not to forget before you arrive here, like signing up on our Facebook group, which we will be posting updates about the program throughout the summer sessions. It's also a really great way to connect with the fellow students you'll be studying abroad with ahead of time. A lot of people in the past have used it to schedule weekend trips with students before they arrive here. So it's a really great social space for you to use as well. And additionally, I'll be listing any of the documents to remember to send to us, such as the health form, your passport scan if you haven't already, the passport sized photo. So just make sure that you go through this email and check that you have taken care of all of these things. So I don't see any questions coming in. So thank everyone for coming to the webinar. I hope this is getting you excited a little bit for Prague. And I hope that you have a good rest of your day, night, morning, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks for coming again.